Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Chico State NASPA Undergraduate Fellows Student Panel. Today's panelists are current NASPA Fellows who participated in the National Association of Student Personnel Administrators Conference in Seattle, Washington back in March, March 10th to March 13th. We want to jump right into our conversation by letting the fellows introduce themselves and talk about their experience. And then if we have anyone who comes in and wants to ask any questions, we can do that. So AJ Ramos, I'm going to have you kick us off and by introducing yourself.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me okay, Yamile? Okay,
Perfect.
my name is Alfonso Jose Ramos. I go by AJ. I'm in my last semester here at Chico State, so super excited to be finishing up in a few weeks. I'm a local to the area as well. I grew up in the area of Chico. I'm a communication science and disorders major, and along with that, so I decided to go into student affairs, look into the field, and then working for orientation, it connected me to the NUFP program. And then with the NUFP program, I was able to go and network with so many different professionals around during our time in Seattle, from people like all over the United States. And I'm an individual who's pretty involved on campus. I part of Greek life. I work in the Office of Admissions. I work for orientation. I work for just a bunch of offices. I'm part of the Upward Bound office, Educational Opportunity office as well.
Great. Then we'll have Estrella introduce herself.
Hi everyone, my name is Estrella. I am from Salted, California. It's a small town like in the Monterey County area. My major is Latin American Studies with a minor in Business Administration, but I am hoping to add another major, which is Spanish, and hopefully be done next semester. I am involved with a few clubs on campus. There's a folklorico club that just recently started, and part of that I work for Trio, I work for orientation, and I'm also part of another club called Adelante, which is pretty much another, well, I'm part enough as well, but Adelante is another program that helps you pursue grad school as well. And I believe that might be it.
Okay, wonderful. And last but certainly not least is AJ Howard.
Hello, everyone. My name is Andre Joseph Howard, but I also go by AJ. My hometown is Sacramento, California. I'm currently pursuing the major of political science with an option in legal studies. I have quite the list of involvements like Greek Life, Student Philanthropy Council, a couple clubs like Black Student Union, and then I'm also part of Adelante, and then of course the NUF program. The degree that I want to pursue is student affairs. I actually will be pursuing a degree in the POSA program, the post-secondary educational leadership, with the focus in student affairs at San Diego State University. But yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So we're just going to jump into the questions, and then we can just round robin them. Estrella, you can go first, and then Andre Howard, and then AJR can answer. So we just returned from the Seattle's National Association of Student Personnel Administrators Conference. It's a mouthful. NASPA for short. And what were some of your major takeaways from that experience? There were quite a few things that were happening in those 3 days. So what do you feel that you took away from that conference?
Well, I feel like what I took away the most is just that it's so simple, but it's just you really see it once you're there. Like once we're told a lot here back in Chico or just back where we're from that there's just so much out there and like pretty much like you can go wherever you want. You can choose whatever you want. You just need to like look for it and like apply yourself to it. But like it wasn't until I got to the NASPA conference, like just the first day that we were in I believe it was called the college fair, that there's just so many colleges out there with other programs and like the requirements, like what they offer, like if they had grad assistantships, like just um that really just like opened my eyes because I was told obviously that there's a lot, but like until I saw it for myself, like I was like, oh, like it was just it opened a lot of new like ideas.
Yes, thank you. AJ Howard?
Yes. Something that I took away is, so when I got there, it was pretty overwhelming at first, but then I realized, no, just be myself. So I started talking to a few people, like presidents of universities, and I started asking them questions. Like one of the questions is, how do you like make change within higher education or student affairs? Because I personally am one who likes to always evolve and change and like upgrade or make new development. And they said that There's professionals in this field who's been in there for like 40 plus years and they like to keep it the same way. But if someone like yourself wants to come in and like change things, don't be afraid to do that. Make your voice known, like let them know like, hey, this is how I think everything should go from here on out. Because some people like to say the same way, but higher education and student affairs itself is always adapting and changing to its students.
Yeah, thank you. AJ Ramos, what are your thoughts?
Some of my main takeaways was to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And so seeing all those schools out there that first day, it could be a little overwhelming for students and for people coming in. It was the first type of conference that I've been to at that size and that magnitude. I believe over 5,000 people were at that conference by itself. So there's a lot of people. And being able to just go like by myself and just walk around and just be able to ask those questions of what your field is, what are some advice that you would give to undergraduate students wanting to go into the field of like student affairs, higher education, anything of that sort. And then also just, I mean, I loved seeing people that uh resonate with like my background as well. So Latinos in higher education, I loved going to those groups and those presentations and being able to hear their stories and how I'll be able to relate. And I asked them for advice as well. Like, what would you give an advice to a student like myself trying to go into this field? And then a lot of people are super open about it and very nice. It was a really nice experience.
Awesome, thank you. So now we're going to move on to our next question, and I want to welcome Leslie to the conversation. She is an NUF alum from last year, so thank you so much for coming, Leslie. We appreciate your support. Our next question is, what are opportunities that the NUF program has given you? Estrella, do you want to take it first?
Yeah, so opportunities, I feel like there's just so many opportunities that Love does provide for you or like offers to you, but I know I haven't used it to the potential and I'm realizing this now, like how big Nuff is, but I just feel like it's given us a lot of opportunities in the sense that from what I've used, like just the conference itself, like um you meet so many new people, so many connections. The networking is just pretty much impossible to avoid. Like we have a great tour and it's just there's just a lot. Like I know that I haven't personally used like everything, but like just the little bit that I've used, I feel like it's helped me grow a lot.
And AJ Howard, what do you think?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with connections because when I was there, I was talking to pretty much anyone and everyone and getting their contacts. And then even now, I still contact them about because I like to ask questions, like to know how people got to where they want to be, like kind of like step by step, piece by piece. And so I've just been asking questions like, hey, like, how did you know that you wanted to become the president of this university? Like, what did you do? Like, did you take a gap year? Like, what were the jobs you had to do? What are like obstacles you faced, challenges, and then what's been great about it? So I've just been definitely connecting, and that has led me to get like so like some people are like offering to give me tours at their universities, and also come to the university. So connecting has been something that's been pretty big.
Yeah. And what about you, AJ Ramos?
The networking was huge for me. Just being able to make those connections with the people at the conference, the professionals that were there, and asking them more about like their field and the universities that they work at, the change that they're seeing at the universities. That was probably the biggest thing for me, just those connections. And I took a stack of business cards with me, and my goal was to hand out as many as possible. And so thankfully, I was able to get in some contacts with different people that were at that conference. And so at least I was able to utilize it at the conference itself. Afterwards, I'm still in contact with some of those people that I was able to meet from the schools that I'm also trying to apply to as well.
Awesome. And then can I just celebrate your accomplishment? All three of you are going where this summer?
We're going to the Dundee Institute.
And can you explain, or whoever wants to take that question, can you explain a little bit to people who may be watching what that means? Or Leslie, we're going to have you hop into this conversation. Can you explain what the Dungy Institute is?
Yeah, of course. First of all, I'm so proud of you all and huge congratulations on not only getting in this journey of NUF, but also getting into DLI. DLI was one of my best experiences, not only in undergrad, but also of the NUF program. It's a huge honor and privilege to be a part of that. So the Dungy Leadership Institute is basically about a week long, I'd say, like leadership development opportunity for undergrad students that are interested in pursuing a career in student affairs, or even if you're thinking about grad school. It's really unique because, first of all, it's very competitive because students from all over the country apply. And so the fact that y'all got in speaks volumes of like your skills and your capabilities. But it's really cool because it further expands your networking skills. Um, and you meet people from like different states who have different backgrounds, career interests. And basically, that whole time that you're at a different institution, because they host you. And my understanding is that you're going to be in Virginia and you're going to be at an HBCU. So you get to see like a different culture too, which I'm really excited for y'all. But basically, it's like the way I describe it, it's like a fast-paced grad program. Like you learn the foundations of higher ed, how policy works, like how different functional areas, like if you're interested in orientation, residential life, like whatever it may be, they talk about that. They also like help you develop your skills of leadership, networking, and how to build your confidence up, how to navigate imposter syndrome. And this is all led by people who have made it big in student affairs. So like professionals that have such an amazing like resume and curriculum and experience. And it's really such a transformational moment. Like these people will become part of your family too. And like your network. Like I still keep in contact with my cohort from last year, and it's just really fun too. Like everything that I learned in DLI, they were teaching it at my grad program. So I felt like I had an advantage because I was like, I already know this. I already talked about this. I already learned about it. So it's going to be a lot of knowledge that you're going to gain, but it's also going to be so much fun for y'all. So again, huge congratulations to y'all.
Thank you, Leslie. And I want to point out that this is an all expense paid opportunity, right? So you don't have to pay for transportation, lodging, meals. That is all covered through the NASPA program. So that's a huge, huge benefit to you all. And so let's go through the third question here. What obstacles have you had to overcome or are still trying to overcome on your journey to graduate school? Estrella, would you mind kicking us off?
Yeah, so I know I'm not going to go right after my bachelor's into a program. I'm going to take a gap year, but I feel like what's the most challenging that has been, and but like I mean it's not impossible. It's just for me it's just deciding where like what area I want to go because there's just like after attending NASPA like okay like there's just so much to it. There's literally so much and just like narrowing it down to see like where is that I want to go like what is are like the non-negotiables that I would want to have like in an institution and stuff like that I would want to go through and like experience. So I feel like that's probably the one right now. I'm still in the process of overcoming the obstacle because it's just like the list of like schools and stuff like that. But it'll be over. It'll be
You'll get through it.
there you go. Nothing.
Yes. AG Howard, what do you think?
So some obstacles that I've had to overcome is probably, I would say, mental health.
Mm.
Um, just been a lot going on, especially with the stress of taking 7 classes in my last year, and then as well as some personal stuff. Like as of Wednesday, it's been confirmed now that 4 family members have passed. So trying to find time to grieve and and then also not having time to myself to actually focus on myself because I'm doing school, work, and then everything else like extracurriculars and stuff like that. So just mental health and trying to find that balance between taking time for myself and then also trying to juggle all my responsibilities.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, and we're sorry for your losses, AJ. AJ Ramos, what about you?
For me, probably the biggest obstacle is one thing that's always on my mind is just financials. So being able to afford where I want to go, being realistic with myself as well. Like there might be a program out there that might look like super beneficial for me on paper, but like I know like within myself, like I might not be able to afford the living expenses out there. And
Mm-hmm.
so just being realistic with that and having that obstacle that I'm facing with applying to schools, and then understanding that like it's it could be hard. I mean, leaving like your comfort zone. I mean, I've been in Chico since I mean forever now, but I mean, I feel like I'm also ready to spread my wings and then head to other places and experience some of the things within that. But it is, I will say, I think that's what draws a lot of students back from going far away from like uh their current institutions. A lot of what I heard at the conference is that like I was kind of intimidated leaving and like going and pursuing, but I mean it's all for a better cause though.
Yes, yeah, that's a very common challenge. Finances. I know in our last cohort that Leslie was a part of, people got accepted to their dream schools, but the finances were very prohibitive. So you're definitely not alone in that struggle for sure. And then our last question, what is your best advice for students who want to pursue graduate school and perhaps work in student affairs someday? And you can talk about your undergraduate experience and things like that as well. And we're going to start with Estrella again.
I think to like personally something that I know that we all here have done and I feel like it has been very beneficial is like just try to like work or find a job or like a part-time job on campus that is in the student affairs branch. Like for example, I know all of us we do orientation or did it orientation, and I just feel like that one, like just that job itself for me personally, it opened up like it just made me pursue want to go into student affairs. But like there's just so many other jobs on campus, like for example, like other centers that you can work for, or like for example, I know Trio, like um I feel like, well, those are the ones that I'm in right now, but there's just so many more. And I feel like just that advice is just kind of like it's overwhelming, the process, the whole process, just even the thought of thinking of grad school, it is overwhelming because it starts so big and then it narrows down, but then like as it narrows down, more issues come out that might be like preventing you from going, but just like push through it, follow like what you're feeling, like like let's just say like okay, like maybe take a break, like I'm not really feeling it right now, then like don't pressure yourself, just kind of like listen to your body, listen to your mind, and just like take it slow.
Yeah, thank you. AJ Howard, what do you think?
I would say the best advice is to be flexible. You might not be in a position that you like want to be in or like to be in, but it's also could be a learning moment for you or like something that can help you in the future. Um, so yeah, just be flexible and adaptable to any experience that is given to you, and then just kind of work from there.
Great, thank you. And AJ Ramos, what do you have any advice?
For students that want to go into the field, I want to emphasize your grade point average does not define you as a person and as an applicant. So it might be completely different for somebody that might be a 4.0 student, but might not have done any extracurriculars like within student affairs during the undergrad to make them a good candidate. And so compared to somebody else that might have like a 2.9 or a 3.0, they're applying to schools, they might have a lower grade point average, but at the same time, like they work for orientation, they work for education opportunity program. They're part of so many offices on campus and they're part of like different clubs on campus. That makes people a better candidate. Like the things that you're involved in, you build your resume within like different jobs on campus and also different clubs. And so I think your grade point average doesn't define you as an applicant. Like just get involved as much as possible. Be an open person with being involved in your campus.
Yeah, that's a great point because I think a lot of times first gen students of color kind of feel that the GPA is the definitive thing that you have to get, but it really isn't. I echo what you said, AJ. It's really about the whole holistic identity of who you in your profile that you bring to a graduate school that they're really concerned about, more so than the GPA at times, depending on the program. So that wraps up the questions that we have to that I have for you today. Does anyone else have any questions? Leslie, do you have any questions for the fellows?
I do. What's something that y'all are hoping to gain or looking forward from DLI?
Which is the Dungy Leadership Institute.
Me personally, I don't have anything specific that I'm looking forward to. I just feel like the whole I mean, it's not a conference. Is it a conference? I'm not sure, but the whole thing as a whole, like just the networking, just everything that we're gonna learn, because it just sounds like it's just a lot and it's gonna be very beneficial.
Yeah.
I say for me is I would like to get a better understanding of the behind the scenes or like the grunt work to be in those positions. Because like obviously we know what we see, but we don't know all the work that everyone is putting in to actually be where they are. So I want to kind of get an emphasis or like an understanding of what I might have to come across in the future.
How about you, AJ Howard? I mean, sorry, Ramos.
For me, I think going in there with an open mind. I've been told like it's a culture shock going to DLI, and so just being open, being a sponge, absorbing as much as the information I get there as possible, and then just making connections with the people, asking them about their stories, and seeing how like it can relate to mine or how it's different from mine as well.
Awesome. Well, that's going to conclude our conversation today. And I just want to say it's been a privilege to work with these amazing fellows at